Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we move straight into our next panel discussion. The future of shopping, building the blueprint out of the box. Lifestyle and social destinations for the evolving new age customer. Please put your hands together and welcome our panel. He is founder and director, UFC Gym and Purizo Handcrafted Soaps, Luke's Life Ventures. Please welcome Ishtiaq Ansari. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, could we have a round of applause? Thank you, that's a little better. Okay. He is Senior General Manager, Reliance Industries Limited. A warm welcome to Kaiser Kazi. He is Chief Mall Mechanic, Beyond Square Feet Advisory Private Limited. A warm welcome to Susil S. Dungarwal. He is Managing Director, Mumbai and New Business, Cushman and Wakefield. A warm welcome to Gautam Saraf. He is AVP Leasing and Marketing, Vegas Mall. Please welcome Ravinder Chaudhary. Joining us online, we have Chief Business Officer, PVR, Pramod Arora. And ladies and gentlemen, our moderator, Chief Operating Officer and co-founder, Arcolan and Propel. Please welcome Rehan Haq. And yes, we've got Pramod Arora. Welcome, Pramod. You're with us online. And it's over to Rehan Haq to take us through the panel discussion.
Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything. That's the word of George Bernard Shaw, and I'm going to start the discussion on that note. To understand the future of retail and to take the next step forward, the future is here to embrace the change and incorporate the same in our businesses. The MAPIC team, senior members of the fraternity, dear colleagues and friends, thank you MAPIC, thank you Ashna and Jatin and the team for putting this lovely event together, and thank you all for making it to this lovely event. Welcome to the discussion on the future of retail and how this trade is standing on the threshold of change and out-of-the-box thinking. COVID-19 has led to a dramatic shift in the consumer behavior, further leading to a change in consumption pattern, thus responsible for making the retailers and developers think hard and imbibe recourse in the way business was running. E-com, technology, phygital, omni-channel will eventually change all shopping centers and malls into a large marketplace, and I keep maintaining that wherever I speak. The revenue will no longer be dependent only on GLA, and the target audience will no longer be restricted to only a geographical boundary. The reality today is that those who do not innovate and change will perish sooner than anticipated. New age customers are tech savvy, prefer omni-channel experience, and expect a whole level of different customer service. So personalized engagement, convenient delivery options, 24/7 service. So these are some challenges which the brick and mortar will obviously have to face. So new age customer expects to engage with business on their own terms, schedule, and on a preferred platform. So how can business adapt to the behavior and expectations of the new consumer or the new shopper? So we will start with, let me pose a question to Pramod sir. Let's start with you because I've been told that you're running out of time. So my first question to you is how is the business changing for the cinema, given that the OTT and related to COVID, there have been so many issues which have come to the cinema. It was the worst hit. And now how are things at the moment, and how do you foresee the cinema business spanning out the next 2 quarters?
Okay, thanks, Rehan. To begin with, yes, the OTT onslaught when the COVID wave came in, the first wave came in, really did hit the industry hard. But the realization came in soon that what's really happening across the industry is the increase in consumption of content. So technically, what was being consumed at an X is now getting consumed at maybe 2x or 3x. Lots of people who were not consuming content have basically become content consumers. So that is an additional consumer base, a large consumer base which has come. And besides the consumers who are already acquired consumers have started consuming more. So that is again something which goes into the favor of the larger industry as a whole. In terms of the cinema, what used to be called as static memories or static experiences that cinemas used to create, so has moved to dynamic memories now. So what used to be static experience, wherein you will create a great experiential format of cinemas or a great experiential space that consumers would come in and their subconscious mind gets them back to the cinemas again and again, has moved to dynamic memory spaces. Now that is really playing the role. The new age consumer is more tech savvy, as many of the forums before this also have mentioned, and I'm sure this is more like something being talked about in many kind of paraphernalia of retail and other formats also as well. So that is playing the role wherein dynamic memories have now become a reality and you create spaces, whether it's an Instagrammable space or whether it's a Facebook wall or whether it is something else which is with the new age technologies. And that is really becoming a reality. So we do see this phase of evolution being a little bit tipsy-turvy, but it seems like at the end of the road there is a silver lining and consumers are going to come back to spaces because the humans needing that social side of them would get them back into cinemas, malls, and shopping experiences back again. So that's what my take would be on this.
So two questions on that front. One, the OTT and the cinema, now the gap is reduced to less than 2 weeks. And earlier the window was a little larger, probably a month, maybe two. But now it's almost releasing at the same time. How is that affecting your profitability? And at the same time, how are you trying to win back? Of course, the experience is also something which is critical in terms of how you will win back business. But are you also looking at pricing, ticket size, apart from experience, or any other initiative apart from the experience bit in terms of winning back customers?
So Rehan, let me just decipher this into two pieces. The first question is about windows, where you're suggesting that either the windows have collapsed to 0 day, so it is a day and date release on OTT as well as on the cinemas, or the window has reduced to something like 2 weeks. Now, this was a temporary blip which came into the industry when the cinemas were not operational or the malls were not operating and you did not have a place to go and the producers had already produced their content. They needed some showcasing. So at that point of time, they came up with this thing that, okay, let's just release it on OTT. So technically the term came in from that the windows were collapsed to 0. So they never collapsed to 0, whether it was India or any other part of the world. The windows remained there. But during that temporary time when the cinemas were not operational, so the films were being brought out straight to OTT, or if some cinemas were being operational in some countries, it was said that, okay, let it be on OTT as well as the cinemas on the same day, which meant day and date release. So that is not a norm. Post that, the 2 weeks thing. 2 weeks thing came in again at the time, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, which was again a blip, which came in at the time when the cinemas were operating at maybe 20% seating capacity or 30% seating capacity or 50% seating capacity, which many restrictions. So producers had no way but to basically align the films to maximize the revenue. So they came out with 2 weeks window or 3 weeks window, again that was temporary. The industry per se realizes that unless the window space amongst the theatrical release and the OTT release is large enough, the producer would not be able to make the money, and as well as this industry would basically end up not being able to perform. So it is all coming back to normal as we are seeing the industry opening up, as we are seeing the malls opening up, and let's say the new third wave which is being spoken about is not a reality and it is something very mild and it just comes in and goes. Then you would see the resumption of the windows coming to the same position which it was pre-COVID, because that's the way the industry can operate and make money. If the films were only to go to OTT, the film producer just not possible. So OTT is a platform which is meant for long form, as we call it LFC, long form of content. The feature film content is what comes onto the cinema, because cinemas do not run soap operas or the long form of content. They run feature films, which is a 3-hour hype and 3 hours. It basically brings in like moments of joy, happiness, sadness, and many more emoticons that one can relate to, but it's all in 3 hours. While a long form of content goes on for probably, from weeks to months sort of a thing, which is what OTT is specializing in. So I believe there is going to be something where both the formats, cinemas and OTT, would benefit in the long run, because there's a large consumer base which has been added. But as of now, the process of evolution would take that 6 months, 8 months, or a year, when we are able to find an equilibrium position wherein we will be able to forecast better to what is really going to happen in the industry. As of now, whatever I suggest would just be conjecture.
Thank you very much, sir. Very insightful. We hope and pray that cinema comes back to life and is business as usual, because it's very important for brick and mortar at least. Thank you for your time, sir. I'll move on to Ravinder. We've been discussing hyper-personalized engagements. We've been talking about convenient delivery options. We've been talking about 24/7 customer service and the customer having that liberty of engaging on whatever platform they deem fit. In wake of all these changes which have come about in the last 2 years, how do you think the game is changing? Is it changing very quickly and we are unable to adapt, or we have time in hand to adapt, change? And what kind of strategies are you implementing at Vegas in terms of keeping your revenues high?
So yes, it is changing at a rapid pace, but we are not left behind. If we read the market pulse at the right time, so we have enough time to adapt to new technologies and enhance the customer experience in totality. So coming back to the second part of the question, that what we are implementing at Vegas, so there are various sections that we have carved out adapting to the technologies, starting from a hypermarket, wherein, so for example, my primary catchment principally works in Gurgaon, and then the drive time is about 40 minutes. Most of them are double income, both of the households are working. So before they start from Gurgaon, they order online, and on their reaching out to Dwarka or their nearest home, so by then the groceries are delivered to their doorstep. So which is one. So which has significantly increased the overall consumption because of the convenience created. And onto the shopping front, we have done a lot of integration via the application front, and we've been doing virtual chatbots, wherein we have reached out to a lot of primary catchment via our filtration and on the customer database that we have. And that has also resulted in a lot of faith in the center. And the numbers have been really encouraging when we realized after the second unlock. So this was adapted very well. And similarly at my food court, because people were hesitant to be in the larger crowded spaces, so we adopted to the DotPay technology, which is again a scan-based ordering thing. And it is almost contactless. You straight away come and all the tables are earmarked with a scan code. So there is no physical intervention required. Soon you order, and there's a payment gateway that's open up, and you can choose from your array of things to pay it out. Similarly, at my parking, again, it is a contactless, QR-based and scan-based. So yes, we are adapting to technologies, and going forward, I think phygital will be the key, and no mall will be spared from adapting to technologies as far as the larger metros are concerned. People are spending more time on digital. They are, most of the time they are handy and they are on mobile. So we feel it's time that we understand the consumer and we adapt to the technologies sooner.
So one random question, and your views on the same. It has been widely debated, and many times you have picked it up in many forums as well, in terms of whether a mall should have their own app rather than looking at the platform, the popular platforms which are already available. Do you think the mall, and you being from the mall business, you think an app will give you the edge, or will it be successful, or what kind of, what do you reckon it's gonna span out? Do you think eventually all malls will have their own apps, or they will not? They will be discouraged from running their own apps?
Eventually, all the leading malls in India will have their own apps. It's a rat race, simple. But adapting to the application it is not only acquiring the customer for the first time by luring him, by giving him gift voucher and enabling him to download the app for the first time. There are, so every one of us are using a lot of applications on our phone, but there would be many applications which we have downloaded, but we are not using them very frequently. So you need to create that reason for somebody to go to that application time and again, to integrate it with your loyalty program, to the offers that are being generated, to the offers which are being customized for that specific buyer, and right from your parking availability. So there is a lot that needs to be done to integrate and have people constantly coming to that application. It is not just by telling that this is the contact number, this is the concierge point number, this is the loyalty point that you have. What after collecting the concierge points? So you need to see the redemption cycle also in that line. And what all services can be adapted into? Can the parking be blocked? Can a valet can be booked in advance? Can a wheelchair be ordered as soon as the customer arrives at the porch? Can a baby pram be arranged there? So if we can have more value additions to the application for the customer experience to be enhanced, yes, I feel people will be using applications more often. We've been using as small as, so there would be very smaller scale applications, but if they are giving change to your convenience, people are using them.
Sujil sir, next question to you sir. So you're handling a wide portfolio of malls across tier 1, tier 2, even international malls you're advising. And as you know, malls have been evolving as a social and lifestyle destination, and post-COVID there has been a change in consumption as well as distribution models. What advice do you give to your malls in the portfolio in terms of how do you acclimatize to this change? And what kind of common issues do you see across all these malls? And in wake of what Ravinder has just been speaking about in terms of phygital, what kind of advice are you giving to your malls?
Okay. As far as adapting technology in malls, very important, and I think no mall is going to be left without that. But whether the technology would be to service the services of the mall or to do a phygital business or online business of all the tenants in the mall, that's going to be difficult thing. But making the mall digitally friendly or creating services or like he said example, parking made available you can book your parking before you leave your home. Those advancements can be done easily. But moving the retailers who are the tenants of the mall to move into a phygital app for a mall is going to be a great challenge. Similar thing, what we are doing now is when we are building new malls, especially in Tier 2 and Tier 3, and we are very surprised with the number of malls which are coming in Tier 2, Tier 3. We are adapting each and every mall so that it is technically advanced, say maybe 2 years, 3 years down the line when these malls will eventually open up. We ensuring that they are as technically evolved and as technically fit as their counterparts in the metros.
Gautam, moving on to you. You're advising malls across India, and you're advising a whole lot of new malls as well. In wake of how things have been moving in the last 2 years, what kind of unique advice are you giving to them in terms of the mix, in terms of your understanding of the new age customers, and what ABCD activities is a must for a new developer?
Let me digress a little bit to the question, just to go back to what you specifically asked. So if you look at the retail universe of the country, it's about 80 million square feet with about 51 odd million square feet of grade A inventory. 204 malls, not counting the ones that are coming in Tier 2, Tier 3 markets right now, with about 50 of them which are above 500,000 square feet. So what we did a corollary analysis of retail space per capita. Now, retail space per capita in India compared to a lot of international markets is underpenetrated. So retail space per capita in India is 0.5 compared to in Indonesia, which is 1. Now, if I draw it down to a Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Calcutta, and compare it possibly to only Jakarta, the stock in this market is 50 million square feet. Jakarta has 50 million square feet of stock. Retail penetration in Jakarta is 4.5 versus in these Tier 1 markets is under 1. Now, for us to reach even to Jakarta levels or Indonesia levels, India needs to throw in 8 to 9 million square feet of supply every year. So when we talk about supply coming in 22 of 8 million square feet, which is worrisome, to our mind it is not, because that's the consumerism story that's happening. Now to your question on the change is like Mr. Ruya mentioned yesterday, or like Ravindra mentioned right now, change being the only constant thing is evolving. So your anchors are changing, your designs are changing where your FEC is changing, the concepts are changing where stores are becoming smaller. Our advice is basically to follow the change, and the design should be able to adapt to the change based on the need of the consumer.
Great. I wish we had more time to deep dive into the configuration and the areas of the mall, but probably we'll do it offhand or probably next time. Kaiser, you've been handling the planning for the Geo World Plaza, and you've been handling the entire fit out. And what do you think how the fit out management has changed, and what kind of pre-planning activities has to be done when you're fitting out a mall of this size, and especially when you have the challenges which are still lingering, and we also have a threat for the third wave too. So in wake of all these, how do you think the fit out management and the planning bit is panning out? Let me also add to it in terms of the new age customers. Things are evolving, consumption is changing, visual merchandising, immaculate planning, keeping it different. All these are becoming very, very important aspect for a brick and mortar, especially a mall, to create a differentiation, create that aesthetics, create those vibes within the mall. So what kind of challenges are you facing at this point of time?
Yeah, good afternoon. As we are aware that, we have all seen this pandemic has changed many things, and definitely it reflects on the design also. The interaction is something that, we have to control now. So we have to be more and more digital. Like in the age of printing your own boarding passes and even baggage tags, why should we be having a queues in front of, POS? We can eliminate that, and that is happening also. You can just scan your own product, get your payment done through, digitally, and get your invoice, and just get out of the store, And there is no need to have long queues especially on the end of the year sale days. That can be avoided. Secondly, the generation is pretty adapt to technology now, and today's generation especially, they are born with the smartphones only. So they are pretty good with the technology, and we have to use the technology to the best of our use. And we can see that, the people are out now after the pandemic. As French philosopher Rousseau said, the man is a social animal. We can't be confined. We have web-based shopping, but, we should see that, the people are back to mall, and they're coming back, Just few days back, I was in Dubai Mall, and there was no table to sit in the food court. So people are pretty out. People are, enjoying their life, and they're back into shopping malls. The challenges are with the retailers now to how to, keep the social distancing, how to, keep the malls safer. Even from the MEP point of view, a lot of people are now adopting the, filtration systems in their malls, where the air is filtered more, it's more healthier than before. So malls are now adapting to the things, which are safer for the customers. Customers are themselves pretty well aware of their own safety now. But as far as design is concerned, only few things have changed. We have to keep spaces between the racks now. And there's nothing much can be done, as the real estate prices are pretty high. It's not so easy to, make that possible. So only thing is that, and another thing is that we can't control the flow of customers in the store. We can't control the flow the way we can control in any other place. So if we have more and more customers coming in, we have to be more and more careful about the entire approach. And the customer needs to be aware themselves and be careful. Of course, this phase will go, and mall will again be flourish with the people, and there will be a lot of activities happening. Of course, it will take a year or so, but we'll be back on track again. Designs, as you say, there's going to be not much change because, everybody is around, everybody is going around the places, seeing international malls. Design is something that is evolving with the time. Everybody knows, what to, design in their store because we are dealing with a lot of international retailers now. I mean, of course, we can't teach them how to design a store, but they know well. Materials have changed, the finishing has changed. Indian stores are looking more and more international nowadays. So that is an evolvement and that is happening. As far as fit out is concerned, I think I don't see much change happening in the fit outs apart from the better and better finishing. So
Let's get the view
yeah.
from the retail side as well. Founder director for UFC Gym, Purisu Handicraft, Lux Life Ventures, ex-director for Gold Gym, Ishtiaq Ansari, the serial entrepreneur, sir.
Thank you, Rehan. Good afternoon, everyone.
So my question to you is that you're running so many businesses and you're wearing so many hats. So what kind of common problems do you face across all these businesses that you're running in the recent past? And in wake of the new age customers, how do you identify these new age customers and what do you think their needs are and the demands are? How are you improvising on the new age customers?
Well, I'll touch upon UFC Gym today, but the experience have been in F&B, in salons and spa, and gym. 3 verticals, and all the 3 have gone through a turmoil. Now, let me just split this between pre-COVID and post-COVID. Pre-COVID, gyms, there were 2 key issues which we face as a discounting, which average your low yield on membership, and a very low retention. The attrition in the industry was around 75%. That's the average. So these are the 2 challenges that we had to run the business. Then comes in the COVID. When the COVID happened, this further aggravated. So first thing what we did was we reached out to the customers and asked them what are the expectations when they want to come back, because we want to be prepared when we open up those doors. The one thing which popped out, which was predominant, was safety. As Mr. Kumar said in the previous forum, safety was a key factor. In fact, before COVID, it was always price. So members chose gyms which gave you the maximum discount. So if you look at the gym industry, discount went up from 20% to 60%. But safety became a priority. If you look during the lockdown, what really changed from a customer perspective, bicycles were sold out, accessories were sold out, equipment was sold out. A lot of people set up a gym at home. So we were fighting anyways in a space which is very crowded, and India has less than 1% of the population engaging in health and fitness activity. Whereas you look at Asia is at 6%, Europe is at 20%, US is at 16%. So this industry was anyways losing money because of a demand and supply mismatch. Now, our learning, what came through and what we are doing today to address this, first is technology. We operate on different platforms. We have an app on a different platform. We have a website on a different platform. We have a software. So this is one thing that we started off last year. We want to bring all this together into one platform, wherein right from the back end to the front end, we have one platform where we can engage the customers. And in our business, the biggest challenge remains is retention. How do you retain? The only way you can do it is you don't lose your customers. In our business, we lose 20% of the customers in the first month. They never show up. The balance 30% are lost over 90 days. So at the end of the year, when you're looking at renewal, you're talking about only 50% of active members who are coming in. Future is you have to offer a combination of online and offline. That's how it's going to work. If you're going to give us, and you have to offer convenience because the lifestyle is changing, we have time constraint. So that is the biggest learning, and that is what we are working on. So our priority is to get the platform up and running by April of next year. 90% of the work is done. We will integrate that, and we will offer our customers a combination of online and offline, which means if you're at home, if you're traveling, you have something to work out and take care of your needs, as well as you can walk into the gym which is there in your vicinity. So this is the shift which has taken place. But even today, the people who moved into cycling or any kind of workout at homes, yoga sessions, that is slowly going down, and we don't want to lose out on that. So if you're able to create something quickly and address those customers and keep them active as far as the fitness lifestyle is concerned, then as a brand, we'll be successful.
Thank you, Mr. Ansari. That's quite insightful. Our times are up, but I can take one question if you have any from the audience. No questions? All right, thank you for being a patient audience. Thank you very much. I hope the session was informative and you could get something for you from the session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.